Welcome to the revolution. It is a powerful and peaceful one because it is of, by, and for the young people of this country.
Welcome back again to this special live edition of Facing South Florida. That sound you heard was Cameron Kasky at the rally there in Washington, D.C. He's one of the student leaders out of Parkland. And I have another student leader here with me, Adam Buchwald, who has created, one of the founders of the group, Parents Promise to Kids, which is basically getting parents and grandparents and any adult really to sign a contract promising to vote for ethical legislators and representatives when it comes to the gun issue. Before we went to break, I asked the question of whether or not this is a moment or a movement, whether or not this has staying power. How do you address those who say this will start to peter out after a little while?
I just want to let everyone know this is not an awareness movement. It is a change movement. I find that our movement, parentspromesetokids.org, will be here for years to come. I don't think this is going to die away. And I also want to let everyone know that in my speech, I was talking about how that this is not just a quick media show and then, you know, all the media trucks are going to leave. This is a movement that's going to stay here. It's going to make a major impact.
Now, I actually think that you've made an impact already. I think the kids in Parkland have already changed things in Tallahassee. I mean, we now have the age to buy a gun. It was raised from 18 to 21. There's red flag laws, which allows the police to now take away guns from those who they think are mentally dangerous to themselves or others. There are, you know, a number of restrictions that have been put in place, increased spending on police protection. I think that the president just banned bump stocks. So there is a lot that's happened. But it's funny, while folks from my generation would say a lot has happened, I don't think your generation is anywhere near satisfied.
We're still striving for change. We are working every day. We're making phone calls. We are writing emails. We want something to change because we shouldn't allow a 19-year-old to attain a AR-15 and go to a school just to mow everyone down. It shouldn't happen. This should have never happened. And personally, I don't think this is a mental health issue. It's a gun issue. So
what was it like when you went back to school recently?
I would have to say that it's very emotional. I don't think, I mean, I'm still grieving. We're still grieving as a community. We're still grieving as a nation.
You knew two of the kids who were killed.
I did.
Right.
I knew Joaquin Oliver and Cara Lufran. Cara was in my third period Spanish class. She was a wonderful woman. And Joaquin Oliver, he was in the same Parkland basketball league that I play in today.
You know, that's, like I said, you know, they're now talking about metal detectors. They're talking about clear backpacks. They passed a bill that also would allow, you know, staff on campus in certain circumstances to be armed. I don't think that's going to happen in Broward, but it could happen in others. What's your thoughts about all the security measures that they're taking now?
In terms of security measures, I know that they're, in terms of Governor Rick Scott, I know that he deployed the Florida Highway Patrol, which is great. We definitely need the security, and I do now see that there's security on every single post. It would have been nice if Scott Israel, the sheriff, could have provided that security. I agree. I really 100% agree with you. I also do want to say that there needs to be more security. After what happened just with the brother, Nicholas Cruz, I mean, how can that happen? Why?
Now, one thing I do want to say that there isn't always unanimity in terms of the voices. And earlier this morning on Face the Nation, there was one of your fellow students, Kyle Kashoff, who's a more conservative student. I think he's part of the Republican Party at the school. He was there, and I want to play for you a little bit of sound of what he said, and then we'll come back to you. So let's play that.
This kid was flagged. He was flagged by the Child Protective Services. The shooter. Yeah, I don't like to say his name out. I prefer not to. He was flagged by the FBI. He was flagged so many different times by the Broward Sheriff's Office. And we need to see that we have to hold our government accountable. We have to, because this can happen again if our government does not do what it's supposed to do. And I find it ironic that after all this, and we've seen so many different government failures, we want to trust the government even more.
It's interesting because, you know, he's arguing that it's not a gun issue, it's a government failure issue. You're arguing it's a gun issue. Talk to me about that.
I think it is a gun issue, and it is a government issue as well. I'll add on to that. I feel that it is a government issue because the government, politicians, these certain elected leaders, they failed us. And if if they worked hard enough to put these gun reform laws out, this wouldn't have happened. This tragedy would have never happened.
All right. Adam Buchwald, again, I want to plug it. Parents Promise to Kids. It's parentspromisetokids.org.
Yes.
You go there, you can find out more about it. You can also, you're on Twitter, at Parents Promise, and the Facebook page?
Yes, our Facebook page is Parents Promise to Kids. Again, we are asking every single parent, grandparent to upload their contract and tag us on social media using Parents Promise to Kids. Watch out, the kids are coming, and they're not happy. We'll be right back after this break.